Good afternoon. Good evening. I'm DDG, and on behalf of the Virginia African American Cultural Center, we welcome you to the first of the Masterpiece Artist Series. This is the first of six, and we're so excited to kick it off this evening, and we're even more excited that you're joining us this evening. We have a full packed show for you. It's going to be interactive and exciting, and we're going to learn more about one of our local musicians and understanding how he has become successful in the path of music. And also, we'll have an opportunity for you to use your chat to question Dr. Hailey and send in your questions, and we'll get your questions answered in live time. And we'll hear more music from the Mosaic Steel Orchestra. It will be live all throughout this hour. And also, we'll hear from Dr. Amelia Ross Hammond, the CEO and founder of the Virginia African American Cultural Center. And she'll tell you all about the plans for this wonderful center and what it means to the state of Virginia. So that's our show. And we will also, toward the end, we will have a virtual kind of door prize. Dr. Hailey is going to put together some gifts, a gift package, and someone who asks a question, we're going to randomly draw their name and they will receive the package, and we will notify them after the virtual show is ended. Ready to meet our guest, Dr. Anthony Hailey. He is made an indelible mark on music in Hampton Roads, in the state, in the country, and internationally. And even more made a mark with his instrument of the steel pan. Dr. Hailey, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome, Dee. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure.
Well, this is wonderful. Let's kick it off. Just we're going to have a conversation, but I wanted to make sure that we gave you ample time to introduce yourself, and please introduce yourselves to our audience.
All right. As you mentioned, my name is Dr. William Anthony Hailey. I am the founder, president, and CEO of Mosaic Steel Orchestra Incorporated. And Mosaic Steel Orchestra, we were founded in 2006. And our mission is providing no-fee, out-of-school time steel pan ensembles. And we've done this for over a decade in the Hampton Roads area, and we're real excited about our past, our present, and our future.
Wonderful. I think our conversation, we're going to talk about your journey and your lessons learned and success. And as we were speaking earlier, we're hoping that even if someone isn't in the music field, that they may take some takeaways of lessons learned and things that you did to pursue your passion. And hopefully they can take some lessons to pursue their own passion. So let's just start off with the basics. What was your introduction to music?
It started kind of at an early age. My introduction to music, my older sister, Antoinette, she wanted a piano. She wanted piano lessons. And once she did get the piano, she began to take lessons, but somewhere fell off. And I was always on the piano. So my mother said, all right, if you're going to, play the piano, you have to take lessons. So I said anything, I just wanted to play. And it turned out I was fairly good, but playing a musical instrument actually caused me to be a little outcast in my community. And because it wasn't a masculine thing to be doing at the time when all the boys were playing football. So it was almost a social struggle that I had, but I persevered through it. And then I got really good at it. I got good at what I was doing. And, it went on to winning talent shows in high school and putting together bands and ultimately, winning the music award on senior day. So it was always some obstacles, I think, and challenges in developing my skills once I found that passion. But it was a passion that really drove me to initially want those piano lessons.
So what do you think it was that kept you wanting more, to explore music more and not being driven away by other influences?
Well, my mom always listened to music in the house. And so I was constantly listening to music, those old vinyl LPs, the 45s and all of that. So there was a constant connection. And then as people started to see me get good, they would say, "Don't forget about me when you get famous." Right? And so I was a kid, young, and you had older, teenagers and stuff telling you that stuff. So it builds your esteem. It makes you really see that, hey, I could probably do something with this. And so I wanted to keep going. That encouragement.
So you found your love for music. So to add on to that, when did you get introduced to the steel pans?
Steel pan actually came after I went to East Carolina University. My senior year, we had a new band director at my high school in Charlotte, North Carolina, and he brought a completely different style of marching, and the band actually revolted. I was a senior drum captain. I wanted to have a successful marching year, so I negotiated with the band teacher. He wanted to change a high-stepping band to a core-style band, and the kids just revolted. I said, hey, we'll do half your way, but at the end of the show, we got to turn up. We got to dance. We got to put the instruments down. And he agreed. And we formed a bond. And through East Carolina University, and when I got there, I was on academic probation because as far as percussion, I was a lightweight compared to all the other entering freshmen. So it wasn't, so I was an outcast again because I was always woodshedding. But my junior year, my professor had a steel band and it was on the side. It was a side hustle. We went out and performed and earned a little money and learned a new skill on the weekends. So it wasn't a part of the university, but that was my introduction to steel pan in a gigging situation.
So how was the steel pan different from the other percussion instruments that you had played? What made you just want to totally veer off toward the steel pans?
It was amazing. I met Ellie Manette. Ellie Manette's from Trinidad and Tobago. He was the first man to use a 55-gallon oil barrel for this art form. He came to East Carolina University with the Navy steel band. The U.S. Navy had a steel band at the time. This was the early 90s. And so Ellie Manette came there and he tuned a note from on a barrel from basically no sound to a crystal clear note. Mm-hmm. And I'm standing right next to him and never seen anything like him. This man looked like me. He was my color. And prior to that, I'm playing Western European instruments, marimba, timpani, glockenspiel, orchestral instruments, struggling to find my way with that. And then here comes this instrument, which I was attracted to. And it was more relevant to my experience in life. And that was it for me. It was really it.
So was the music different that you played with the steel pan than you played with regular percussions? Talk a little bit about the difference of the music that you could produce.
Yeah, so with steel pan, the thing is you can produce any type of music. We can play all the classicals, but the type of music that I was introduced with on steel pan, it was celebratory, it was party music, it was dancing music, it was participatory music with the audience. Whereas the Western European music, the audience sits there and then the performer does their thing and then the audience lets them know that they appreciate it. But with steel pan, it was an interactive thing. And I just so enjoyed all of that interaction with people, that you're playing for, the audience. It's that level of interaction that really lets you know that you have a lot more power with this instrument through music than some other instruments perhaps.
Great. So we're going to, as promised here, more musical performances, and our producer, Seiko, is setting that up now. If you're ready, Seiko, please roll the video.
The world has highly anticipated your return.
That is great. I can hear and see passion and dedication and pride and fun.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot going on in there. This was one of the videos, the last virtual video that we did coming out of COVID, prior to coming back in person with these children. And, you know, just looking at these videos, that video, it was shot in Hampton Roads. We have Chesapeake, Norfolk, Portsmouth, Virginia Beach, Newport News, all represented in that video. And that's our virtual program when we put our instruments in the homes of these children. And it was just, it was a real beautiful thing that we were able to keep providing our service for them. And we all were learning. We were all learning to do this thing virtually. And it's, I think it's something that they'll never forget. I'll never forget it. It enhanced our programs, and it was just a wonderful thing. So that was return of the Mac, meaning, all right, we're coming back, and we're in person now.
Definitely, it was fun to watch. I'll tell you. Can I talk more about your introduction to the steel pan, and once you realized that there was something there, how did that guide your next journey?
It changed everything. There was one summer when I joined the steel band. We played steel pan all summer, every weekend in New Bern, Wilmington, all of these little eastern North Carolina towns, Little Washington, and people loved it. I was blown away by the experience because I was around 19. I had never been in a group that went out and played so regularly. And at that age, I'm making about $300 a weekend playing an instrument. That'll never happen with marimba or timpani. So not only that, combined with the passion, the relevancy, being from Trinidad and it being created from nothing. So I followed Ellie Manette to West Virginia, to Morgantown, West Virginia, and pursued my master's in music. And so my main reason to go to West Virginia was to chase this steel pan, to learn more about it. And I decided in 1992 that I was going to start a steel pan business, and it was going to be called Hailey Steel Pan Academy.
Wow. So at that point, you decided to continue the studies, but had you decided or felt that you understood that that was your purpose in life?
I didn't really fully get it. You know, when you graduate undergrad, you're still very immature in a lot of ways, and I was like that. And my professor, he said, "Well," he was like, "You know, what are you going to do when you graduate?" And I was seriously was like, "I don't know." Like nonchalant. He said, "Well, you're pretty good at the steel pan thing." He said, "You should, look at West Virginia, go up there." He's like, "Ellie, you said you seem to be really into it." And I was like, "Okay." And so, I was listening. I knew I was good at it, but it didn't really dawn on me until I think much later when I started performing. And so I got my master's in '94. It took a couple of years. I moved back to Charlotte and worked for 3 years, started my family. And after working, I decided that I want to get serious about this. I want to go back, get my doctorate, and I'm really going to do this thing. And it wasn't until I completed my residency and I moved to Hampton Roads in 1999 and started working with children. And I noticed the power that this instrument had to really encourage, to change lives, change the trajectory of behaviors. And then I knew seriously that this was my calling.
So I know you were performing, were you also writing music or arranging?
Yes, always. One of the first things that really drew me into the music was my ability to compose and arrange music. So a lot of songs that I would always have. And, I had the opportunity in 2017 to, I'm actually the first African American to arrange for the Trinidad and Tobago National Panorama, which is their steel band competition. I did that in 2017. So composition, arranging, and all of that has always been something that's necessary to in this industry of steel band, and something that's a passion of mine, something that's just actually kind of come naturally to me.
Wonderful. So we are still accepting questions. If you want to leave a question for Dr. Hailey in the chat, feel free to do that now. And we are going to listen to another selection from the Mosaic Steel Orchestra. Again, just great music. And Dr. Hailey, did you say this video was shot by the students and edited during COVID?
Yes, it was. This was the very first one that we did. And you see, it had all different sort of frame angles and everything. So we had a lot to figure out. But I said, hey, we're going to make this happen. And it was just it was a strange and exciting time at the same time. I was a video editor. I had to learn a new skill set in order to make this happen because we didn't have money to afford a video editor to make this all happen. So it was a lot of long hours. The children had to redo videos and redo videos. COVID taught everyone a lot about survival, I think, and digging deep and our resilience of the human spirit.
Agree. Well, thank you. We are going to continue our conversation in just a few minutes. At this time, I would like to introduce Dr. Amelia Ross Hammond, who is the CEO and founder of the Virginia African American Cultural Center. And Dr. Ross Hammond has a lot of information on what's coming up for the center and how you can participate. Good evening, Dr. Ross Hammond.
Good evening to you. I have been moving in my seat and enjoying the music. And that's one of our big purposes for the Cultural Center is for it to be interactive and not static. And this is why to hear these wonderful young people performing all in harmony. What more can we ask for?
Absolutely. And thank you all for hosting this evening, this Masterpiece Artist Series. I mentioned earlier that you all are planning a total of 6, and this is the inaugural event. So thank you again for just the thought of the brainchild of this event. Please tell us more of our audience about the Virginia African American Cultural Center.
Okay, well, welcome. And we want to let you to invite you to join us and become a member and just donate to this timely cause. This journey began in 2015 while I was on council and going around the community, talking with a lot of the elders that said we have no repository to share and talk about our learned experience or our artifacts. So putting together our board, we have a mission to collect, preserve, and interpret and inform and celebrate Virginia African American history, culture, and community, to inform and educate the public about African Americans' contributions in all endeavors. Our vision will be the statewide leader in generating historical and cultural contents through program artistic performances like this one and curated exhibits. Our goal is to create an opportunity for those who love to learn about African American culture and to explore and revel in its history, to reiterate the important role of African Americans and share the significance of African American culture and history. More importantly, to showcase the struggles of African Americans through the civil rights and how they impacted freedom struggle regionally and around the world. Our 3 pillars are curate, communicate, and cultivate. And after talking with City Council, they willingly agreed. They are part of our partnership, and they gifted us 4.83 acres of land right in the center of 7 of the historically Black African American historic neighborhoods. And just for you to know, Virginia is the rich history. This is where it all started. The longest ongoing community is right here in Virginia Beach at SeaTac. And visitors can come and learn about this. We even have something out now. We have our African American historic sites that people can go because, of course, the COVID, we made it so we can do a self-guided tour in small groups. The center will transcend, raise, and unite the history of many older communities by sharing stories that shape the fabric communities across the Commonwealth of Virginia. It will highlight these. We have a multi-purpose center built and we're building it in two phases. The first one we have for collections, artifacts, instructional, and learning, like what you see with the Mosaic Steel Orchestra. They may be able to come over there and perform. The second we have a formal indoor multi-purpose performance center to seat 250, and on the outside we'll have a historic journey walking trail and event plans. So we encourage you again to join us by becoming a member, beginning at only $25 annually, just to donate to this important cause. I thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Ross Hammond. I know as soon as I heard about your work, and I knew and I know how important it is as a native of this area that we need to continue to tell our stories. And I immediately joined, and we will have you back toward the end of the event to share closing remarks and to let people know how they can be a part of this wonderful journey. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
And we are back to more conversations with Dr. Hailey, who is the founder of the Mosaic Steel Orchestra, and he has led us through his early journey of his introduction to music and to the steel pan. And now I want to talk about you had done a lot with performing and writing. When did you know that you could have influence on other people?
Yes, the recognition of the power of the influence on other people came after teaching youth for a while. I ran from teaching initially, getting performance degrees, and ended up teaching. And it had a profound impact because I was teaching only steel pan and African drumming and dance. These were things that I was focusing on in my doctoral degree. And so it was more, I was more passionate about what it was that I was teaching. And just to see the response that the children had towards me, and also the response that the audience would have toward the children and receiving them in this knowledge. And it began to spread more and more. So when I started Mosaic Steel Orchestra, you started to look around in the community and noticed a void as far as senior citizens having activities that are meaningful and worthwhile for them. And also that's something that they can continue to learn, actually learn something. And so we started that because it just seemed like the right thing to do. So just the power, just by doing this and watching the community and seeing I guess being involved in the community, you get more observant and you start to see, I wonder if this group could benefit from it. I wonder if this group could benefit from it. So we've done things with the Virginia Disability Center in Virginia Beach. We've done things with autistic groups. So there's so many benefits to music and that. So it's a powerful thing. And steel pan, I think, is even more so powerful.
Great. We actually have questions, quite a few questions from our virtual audience. And I'll start with the first one. Donna Speller Turner asked, do you offer classes for adults?
Yes, we do offer classes for adults. That was one of the things we initially started doing early on, just like it was an overall class for youth through adults. And we've actually gone back to that model here during the pandemic. Our beginning classes are on Saturdays. We have a pan yard in Norfolk, Virginia on 27th Street over in Park Place community. However, on November 20th, we'll be moving over to Military Circle Mall, which is another popular place in Norfolk. And we'll have our Saturday morning beginning classes then. But we'll be posting on our website as well all of our upcoming adult classes. We're trying to get back into full swing. And we started this past spring and are just kind of adding things on. So we're excited about our fall and everything we've done this past summer.
That is great. We have another question. Kevin Jones is asking, does being in Hampton Roads restrict your ability to progress in the profession? Maybe if you were in LA or New York, would it make a difference?
It would be a different scene, but honestly, for what I'm doing, I think this is one of the hotbeds in the nation because we have such a supportive arts community. particularly cultural arts. And I think it's the diversity that the Navy brings, because there are all types of different festivals. You have a Carib Fest, a Latino Fest, all these festivals, So this type of art form is flourishing here. And as far as affecting my professional career, this gives me a platform to expand my professional career. Actually, I've been able to, fortunate enough to receive some grants, and receive some grants from the Department of State in Trinidad and Tobago, from the U.S. Embassy, and actually do what we're doing here in America with Mosaic Steel Orchestra, and do the same thing in Trinidad, because it's odd that there's the same problems in Trinidad that we have with our youth, the same issues. I won't call them problems, just the same situations. They're just a little bit different. So being in Hampton Roads actually helps with this art form. I think I would rather be nowhere else doing this.
Wonderful. A question from Brianna Gaines. How long will it take for an adult to learn steel pan?
That depends on how much you want to shine. We have people come up to our beginning classes. I'm going to use, I hope Miss Peggy doesn't help. She lives in Norfolk. She came to one of our classes, didn't know a thing, left smiling so much. Also, Miss Susan, all this summer, we've had a lot, people just walking by the pan yard. We're more visible out in the community. So we have people just coming up and joining, and they leave smiling on the first day, because you don't expect to actually be playing music and participating really well on your first day, but with steel pan, you will.
Great. We have another question about classes. Tracy H is asking, do you offer classes for youth, and what ages? So is it divided into ages, or is it, everyone takes a beginner class or expert class?
Right. So what now we're going to do, we're getting back to our beginner classes. We like to throw everyone in the same pot when you're a beginner. The only time we separate beginners is when they're seniors. Seniors, we have to give them a little more respect and due diligence as what we're doing with them. So we don't want a whole lot of children running around messing up their thing, because they're paid their dues with that kind of thing. They just want to relax. But other than that, we throw adults and children into the same pot, and it works out really well as far as beginners. The great thing, and there are fees for these beginning classes, but the great thing about our youth program is that once your child is in some of our classes, beginning classes for a few months, several months, maybe, no more than a year, they'll have enough skills where we can transition them into our no-fee program. And that's what we like to do. Just kind of scoop kids up. And the great thing about the beginning classes is that your adults and your children, we have a mother and son, we have those combinations taking that, and we provide a family discount, a household family discount. So, this is a great activity to do along with your children. And we know from experience with Mosaic Steel Orchestra that your child is going to get so much more out of it if you stay there and participate. Even if you stay and watch, they're going to get more rather than you dropping them off and leaving. But if you stay and you're in the class also, it's really going to strengthen your relationship, and you'll be surprised at the difference it makes in your household at home.
Great. Well, Dr. Hailey, we want to continue the conversation. I am excited to see all of the questions that are coming in. People are very interested and intrigued about learning or getting their children into classes. As we promised, though, this is almost like a little mini concert also. So we do have another video of a steel pan performance. Seiko?
Oh my goodness, I love that video.
The video tells the whole story. The children are having fun. There's camaraderie. They are serious about what they're doing, and they're proud of their work.
Yes, yes.
I would like to ask when students come to you, what's the main reason students come to you? Were they brought by parents? They sign up? For the most part, why do they come to learn?
Oh, various reasons. We children, sometimes we have a lot of grandparents raising children, and they just need something, an outlet for the kids, something creative other than the one of the biggest things we get is they're just on this video game too much. They're just on this telephone too much. They're looking for real outlets to socialize their children, and basically that's what they're looking for, a social outlet in this, and as well as somewhere where they can be creative and express themselves, and we provide all of that. That video is, those children, they're between 21 and 26, 27 years old now. My daughter was front and center, and my son was playing the drum set. It's so powerful how this music changes these kids, and even if they don't go on to be musicians, they never forget this experience.
Do examples come to mind of success stories per se of students who came to you, whether if it was they advanced in music or if they advanced in their just commitment to being responsible citizens? Can you talk about that a little?
Yeah, definitely. We've had a lot of that over the years. In the early years, we Mosaic Steel Orchestra, my goal was to expose these children to college life through steel pan. And so we've been to University of Delaware, we've been to Miami University in Ohio. We've performed on the campuses of all the colleges here in Hampton Roads, ODU, Norfolk State, Hampton. And so the whole thing was to really expose these children to the possibilities and the potential. And I think if there's a success story, it's not necessarily what they went on to do, but it's overcoming a challenge in their own lives. we've had several children on the spectrum, on the spectrum in the program, and the autistic spectrum. And there was this one young lady in particular. She was very reserved, very shy, just to herself. Nothing could get her out of this. And a few years into it, her father came and he shook my hand. He said, Dr. Hailey, I really want to thank you. And I said, well, you're welcome. He said, I don't know how you did it, but I just want to thank you. And what he was talking about was the transformation that he saw in his daughter's life at age 17 that hadn't happened in all of those years of being on the spectrum, trying to find something that reaches and allows them to be themselves genuinely. And so I think that was the greatest thing that happened, is that to see someone really focus and dedicate and get this craft good, to go on to the point where your self-esteem, your self-worth, your image, everything changes, and you don't care what people think. And that was a great transformation. It was beautiful.
Great. Well, the information is on your screen. If you in the audience want to contact Dr. Hailey, 757-625-0545 or Mosaic Steel Orchestra.org. And we have more questions. Jaquetta Thompson is asking, what inspires you to continue this journey, Dr. Hailey?
The passion, seeing people enjoy it. To tell you the truth, I get so much enjoyment and fulfillment out of seeing people enjoy this instrument. It just that's what drives me, and I want to turn. I'm promoting Pan. That's my whole thing. I want to turn as many people onto this as I can, while I can. So this is my proliferation, Pan proliferation. If I can get as many people playing, that's what, because I know that their lives are changed. I know that it enhances it. It makes it better. The quality of life, there's no doubt. They say it all the time. Dr. Hailey, oh, thank you for helping me retain my sanity. Things like that. And it's serious. That's real talk. It's not them just saying this. So that's what drives me. The power.
So what is next? We've seen, we've heard the stories from your first introduction and your education, and when we see through the video the effect, the impact that it's having on young people. So what is next? How do you keep this moving?
All right. So what's going on now is the vision. With the passion that I developed earlier, and then I went to school and I got the skills and all the knowledge. But then you also have to keep that vision developed that started way back in '92 and let it morph, let it change. And so we started a pan yard in Norfolk, Virginia. And it's a place in Trinidad where they originally would come together to create the art form, to hone their skills, and steel bands grew up around the pan yard. So that's where the steel bands live, in Trinidad and Tobago, in the pan yard. And so we have a pan yard in Norfolk, Virginia, and it's the only full-time dedicated pan yard in North America. Really proud to have that. So we're going to make that full-time, because that's how we reach the community. The pan yard it's like a gathering place for the community. You can come by, just we call it liming, just kind of hang out like the lime, the fruit, and enjoy steel pan. It's free vibes. Come take a class, all types of things. So that's what we want to be. This past year we had a Juneteenth event at the pan yard. We had a voter registration rally at the pan yard. And we had a jamboree, a pan jamboree, and brought in Devon Stewart from Trinidad. He's the most winningest steel band arranger in history. And we had him right here a couple weeks ago at our jamboree. So in less than 6 months, we've done major things in the community. It's all been free. So that's what the future holds. We're going to keep on doing things for the community, keep encouraging the community, and just my vision is that we can kind of reconnect the community with the art and the humanities, because right now it's challenging to get people in our communities of color, to actually appreciate culture and really get involved in it. So we have to start building that and showing that there. And that's what we're going to do. And it's a great thing because in that way we build diversity.
Sure.
We build diversity in the community.
Sure. That's another question also. Charles Johnson has asked, do you usually have a diverse audience at the steel drum presentations?
Yeah, it's amazing the diversity that we create intrinsically in the organization. That last video, if you look at all the children, they're African American. But if you look at some of our revenue generating classes, they're pretty much Caucasian. And so we have unique opportunities, which we did at the Pan Jamboree, to unite our youth classes along with our adult classes. And then you don't see race, age, gender, or anything. You just see a lot of people. And in turn, they invite their people out, and the audiences are very diverse. But we want to make sure that we continue to pull more audiences in to increase that diversity and let everyone know that this art form is for everyone.
Great. Another question has come in from James Bonds. I have 2 adult children and 2 grandchildren, ages 19 and 5. What would you advise on how to convince my grandchildren that diving in a music could be a lucrative career?
Well, that's what we do at the Pan Yard. You just have to expose them. We brought in Devon Stewart from Trinidad. This man travels around the world playing steel pan, telling his story and sharing his life with the world. And so I think through exposure, that's how we can convince our children that this is an option for your life. It's a viable option. You know, there's so many different music professions you can go into, as far as not just performing, but music therapy, which is really big. And, you know, coming out of COVID, people are realizing how much therapy music is. And that's why our classes are taking off, because they come here and they're taking these classes because guess what? We need to do something for ourselves. We need to unwind. We need a little therapy. So just expose, Mr. Bond, just expose your children to arts and cultural arts, but expose them to people that look like them doing it.
So I know we talked earlier before the event about purposes and people's life's purpose. And even if it's not music, what could you say to our audience who maybe is not looking to go into music, but maybe some of the things that you learned to help pursue and move forward with your passion that maybe we could leave with our audience? So if writing is their passion or something else, what are the main takeaways that worked for you to get you to where you are now, to be able to tell a success story?
Right. Well, the best advice that I think I can give is that once you find your passion, once you identify your passion, just keep working on it. Just keep doing it. You don't have to necessarily take different types of writing classes or whatever, because your writing style is your gift. That's what's been given to you. As long as you keep doing it. I think of the challenge of writing a doctoral dissertation. I didn't know what I was doing, but I just did it every day. I just wrote every day, and then I finished it. And so take that passion and develop it by practicing. You have to practice it. Even doctors, physicians, when you go in, they're still practicing. So we have to constantly practice. And then as you're practicing it, maybe seek some sort of employment. If you have any type of employment, I don't care what you're doing as a job, pick up any kind of skill, some sort of administrative skills or anything. You have to build a skill set. All right. Your talent alone is not going to carry you. It's not going to carry you. You need a set of skills. So in that training, while you're developing your skill, pick up some other skills. Learn how to be computer literate. Have good communication skills. Don't listen to people that tell you that you're not going to make money, because that's what people told me the whole time. You're not going to make any money doing that. And I kept saying it's not about the money, because it really isn't about the money. The money will come. You will be successful and you will be able to afford living. The main thing is you want to enjoy it. You want to live your life doing something that you enjoy. So find that passion, develop that passion. Don't let anyone deter you, the naysayers. Use that as what I call negative reinforcement or negative encouragement. When someone says, "Oh, you're not going to make any money doing that," or "That's not going to work," I use that to, because they don't know what I have inside of me. Nor does anyone know what you have inside of you. So just keep pushing towards your mark, and you'll get there. I dreamed of Mosaic Steel Orchestra in 1992, and it started in 2006. So it takes a while, and it's still getting there.
Great. Wow, time flies when we're having fun because our time is near. Is there anything else, a last word that you want to leave with our audience? You have been so insightful and passionate and informative, and we have enjoyed spending this hour with you. Is there anything else, a last word that you would like?
I'll say just never quit. That's it. Just never quit. We have this life to live, and we can't quit in life. If you quit in life, that means your heart is no longer beating. So as long as you have a heartbeat, just never quit. Keep doing good and try to live a life of service.
Thank you, Dr. Hailey. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Again, if you would like to participate in classes or support Dr. Hailey and the Mosaic Steel Band, please, the information is below at 757-625-0545 and mosaicsteelorchestra.org. It's scrolling on your screen. Thank you again so much. And from those audience members who sent in questions, we will randomly choose a person, and Dr. Hailey is putting together a gift bag, and we will reach out to the winner. Thank you again. And we now want to bring back Dr. Amelia Ross Hammond with closing remarks. And after she finishes, we will end the segment with another musical performance by the orchestra. Dr. Ross Hammond, please.
Well, I must say, Dr. Hailey encouraged us because he's had his dream from 1992 and it became fruition in 2006. So we've started ours in 2015 and we're in no ways tired. Can you see how talented these youth were? How they all are stars in their own way? Can we all get along? Yes, we can through the arts. At this point, I want to thank our sponsor who gave us a grant in part, and that was the Virginia Beach Arts and Humanities Commission. And as you can see how we're doing, we're expanding our footprints to Norfolk, to Hampton, to Chesapeake, Williamsburg, Richmond, Northern Virginia. We received several grants. We've taken our activities over to Hampton, Kempsville High School, and so many. We're partnering with the Chrysler Museum, Social Justice Group, Colonia Williamsburg, and so many other civic groups. One thing we want to mention that if you want to be a sponsor for one of our six-part masterpiece, just send us a note and you will get a chance. Even if you're a small business and you want to be a sponsor, we have different levels. At this point, I want to thank our board members, Vice Chair Terry Calhoun, our Secretary Cheryl Davison, our Treasurer Kelvin Arthur, James Wayne, James Bond, Wayne Jones, and my partner in crime, Ms. Chavette Jones, who is not only a parliamentarian, but together we came up with this idea of giving back because we really believe what we do for others, God makes happen for us. And we also want to share, we have some talented media staff. We have Jaquita Thompson, we have Tony Giorgenti, and most of all, we are especially grateful to our special mistress of ceremony, DDG, and our talented videographer back there, Seko Varner, a man of many talents. As you can see, we believe in giving back, and we know you have this opportunity to join us, become a member, donate. It starts at $25. You can go up, become a charter member. I saw one of our charter members, Charles Johnson, on this tonight, and we're so happy to have that. So we thank you all this evening. Thank you. Oh, I do have one last thing I want to mention. We have two more art members coming up from our artist series. We have Renee Dickinson, a nationally acclaimed artist who works in acrylic on canvas. And his paintings are in the private collection of Oprah Winfrey, Barry Gordy, and many such celebrities. Renee has a long-standing relationship with the Temptations and has provided artwork for their album cover. He will be also auctioning one of his private artwork. You must be there if you're an art collector, because this is one of the few times you get that. And our second one will be in December 23rd, a Grammy Award musical producer, pianist, composer, nicknamed Black Beethoven. So he will be here. You've heard a lot of his music. If you don't think these people behind the music make a difference, just listen to the Wendy's commercial on the recent football season. That was done by Don Pearson Jr. So we're bringing you heavy hitters, and he will also have something for us to auction. Thank you so much. I'm so excited, as you can see. The arts matter. I'm a musician myself, and I am just excited. This is a great kickoff. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ross Hammond. This has been a wonderful evening on behalf of the Virginia African Americans Cultural Center. I'm DDG. I am so honored to be your MC this afternoon. And please, the website address is on the screen. Reach out if you want to be involved as a sponsor or a member. VAACCVB.org. Please reach out. And we will end with a final performance by the Mosaic Steel Orchestra. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and have a wonderful week.